What's going on today, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of Walking Reviews. Sorry it's been a while since I've gotten a review posted, but it seems like every time I start making one, something happens and I have to stop halfway through, which is really a pain in the balls. But hopefully today will go well and you will see this video. I know what you're saying. Yo, dumbass, you've done this review already. We've seen this knife. Yes, you have seen the custom division and you've seen the clone of the custom division. This is the mid-tech version of the Shirogorov Neon. This knife has been out for a while, but they are pretty tough to get a hold of. So I figured, you know, hopefully you wouldn't mind seeing a little review of it. Real quick, we'll go ahead and jump into the specs. We have a 3 1/4 inch blade of Bowler M390. There are two versions of the mid-tech. One is in CPM S90V. That's the more, I guess, common version. And then this version in Bowler M390 is a little bit tougher to find. Anyways, yeah, 3 1/4 inch blade of Bowler M390 with a very, very classic drop point design, full flat grind. It's one of Shirogorov's signatures, is that beautiful full flat grind that is extremely functional. That is also one of the I mean, if you look at a Shirogorov knife, they all look very much alike. Aside from like handle finishes and stuff like that, his knives are all very similar to one another. So you can almost always tell when you're looking at a Shirogorov design. But there's a reason for that. It's because the blade shape is so freaking useful. Anyways, there's a sort of bead blasted finish, some kind of media finish on the blade that is extremely durable. It really doesn't scratch. It's not a stone wash per se. You can see how even and uniform it is, which you wouldn't really get with a stone wash. So it's some kind of like either bead or media blast finish that is very, very, very durable. I tend to abuse this knife since I got the custom division, and you don't see really a mark on it. Just a very, very durable finish, whatever it is. So 3 1/4 inch blade, handle length is 4 1/4 inches. So we're looking at an overall of 7.5. Handle, obviously titanium. Frame lock. You can see the lockup. Lock bar is very easy to disengage. It's got that same sort of media blast finish that it's a little bit darker than the blade is, but I think that's just because of the difference in materials. But yeah, it's got that same sort of finish on it that really doesn't scratch at all. You can see they've done some milling here in the handles. There's the Shirogorov Bear logo. As far as construction goes, it doesn't get much simpler than this. There's a screw here, and then the pivot screw and a stop pin. That's it. That's the whole shebang. And then obviously you can see there's a back spacer here. There is a little pin inside of the back spacer to keep it from moving, but you can actually remove it and it doesn't really change the functionality of the knife at all. 3D milled pocket clip. This carries very well in the pocket. Nice and slender, so nothing obnoxious as far as the clip goes. One thing you'll notice is that all of the edges, none of them are like 90-degree edges. Everything has been chamfered and rounded. Every edge. There's not a single edge on the knife that hasn't been rounded or chamfered. Well, I guess technically that one, but that is a chamfer. So anyways, matching pattern on the lock side here. It does have an over travel stop and a steel lock bar insert. Apologies, my hands are getting really freaking cold. It's freezing out here. Tiny bit of jimping on the flipper tab. Action, as you can see, is just insanely good. No blade wiggle whatsoever. One thing a lot of people do have issues with is the pivot moving, which can be solved with just a little bit of Loctite. Hold on one second, guys. Here, I need to warm my hands up. It's starting to get frozen. I'll keep talking about the knife though. Yeah, it's the custom division Neon that I showed you has what I told you about, those roller bearings, whereas this mid-tech version has a multi-row bearing system. Not like a double row, but it's almost like a star pattern. Kind of hard to describe. It's sort of like a star pattern, but instead of straight lines, that they go off in angles. I don't know. Really a cool idea, cool system. Fuck, my hands are cold. Not that easy to maintain and clean. I've had that knife apart, and it looks like the bearings are sitting in a washer, which they are, but the washer doesn't retain the bearings at all. There's just a little bit of space for the bearing to sit in, but it's not like a caged bearing. So once you take the knife apart, those bearings can fall out, which I learned the hard way with a previous Neon. So you have to be extremely careful, and they're not the standard like normal size cage bearing. They're pretty tiny, so you have to be careful when maintaining and caring for the knife. Sorry about that, my hands really are fucking cold. Yeah, as far as weight goes, it's 3 ounces, I believe, right on the dot. You can see their centering is perfect. Fit and finish is really nice. As far as price goes, really it's hard to find them for sale anywhere that's not the secondary market. There are a couple of places. I ordered this one directly from the Russian maker, and I only paid $6.50 for it. But there are places like Recon One that I believe sell them new. Really, it's sort of like a lightning strike. You know, are you lucky enough to find it before it sells out? Because they do sell out immediately everywhere. And that's because they have such a stellar reputation for amazing action, and just a really useful knife. But at the $6.50 price point, I say it's a really good buy. Yes, it's plain, and it's just a a titanium frame log flipper with a super steel like M390 or S90V, and those are a dime a dozen. But the action you're not going to find really anywhere else in a mid-tech or production knife. So you kind of have to weigh that. Is action like this important enough to you where you're willing to spend that money, and the fit and finish, obviously. So yeah, I mean, the materials are, yeah, they're top notch, but they're not $650 top notch, and sometimes the secondary market prices are even as high as like $900. So really, I mean, you're paying for that multi-row bearing system action. And is that worth it to you? To me, yes, it was. Plus I really love the dimensions of the knife. It carries perfectly for me. Super duper thin. This is even thinner than the custom division. So to me, yeah, it was worth it. I just love the design, love the action, etc. But as far as being able to find another titanium frame lock flipper for less than that, yeah, you're going to be able to do it. So Anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap this up. Stay tuned for more reviews. My hands are freezing. I gotta get them back in my pockets, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Later.